What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. This is MotoMoney, and today we're going to be talking about managing your money like a business. This is a pretty good one. So like always, I'm trying to help you manage your money as best I can, and this is coming to you from someone who hasn't always been good at managing their money. If you've watched my other videos, you know I'm not some holier than thou super success story. I'm just a regular guy who's gotten pretty good at managing my money because I learned from my mistakes, and boy have I made so many mistakes. A quick side story, for a little while I attended business school, but I was never actually accepted into the business school. So here's what happened. At my college, we as students had the ability to build our own majors. So while our business school was like pretty selective, and I never even tried to apply for it anyways because I didn't even know that business was something I was so into, I was still able to take all the classes I wanted because I made my own major. I just added all the classes I wanted to take, and I was able to take almost all of them. And at the end of the day, guess what? I didn't even end up finishing school, nor do I intend to go back, and I'll get into that later. The funny part of that is some of those business classes actually helped me come to that conclusion. So maybe some parts of it were worth it. I don't know. That's for you to figure out. But anyways, I'm going to share a lot of the important stuff with you right now. So here on MotoMoney, well, I'm just getting started with this channel. My main objective is to teach you everything I've learned in a very judgment-free way, and just try and put you into a better mindset so that you can do whatever you want in life and not have to worry about it. And when I say that, I really mean that. If you watch my videos and you're like, hey, love the advice, I think I'm actually just going to blow all my money all the time, that's fine. But at the very least, I know I maybe gave you some knowledge that might steer you in a different direction. And if you ever do want to go in that direction, then these videos are always going to be here. Alright, so let's talk about money. As we all know, money comes in, money comes out. Money sometimes stays in our bank account, sometimes that's pretty rare. In fact, many of us, including myself back in the day, really struggled to hang on to money. Well, sometimes I was spending it and blowing it and knowing exactly where it was going. Other times it just felt like it would slip away no matter what I was doing. Even if I made a lot, it was somehow missing. Even when I made very little, it definitely felt like it was missing. And then I get really frustrated because I'd be like, okay, so how do I win this? If I'm making a lot of money and it's gone, that stinks. If I don't have a lot of money, that also stinks. That's like playing a game you can't win, and I don't know about you, but when I play a game, I usually want to win. So anyways, this went on for a really long time, up until I was in college. And right before I went into college, I had probably a couple thousand saved up, and then I would go start living in the dorms. I was able to stretch that money pretty good for a while, but then eventually it'd be gone, and then I'd just go home for the summer and make more money, and then, you know, start the whole thing all over again. That's fine and dandy, right? For the first little while in college, if you're living in a dorm or something, you know, money's not too bad as long as you're not paying out of pocket for the dorm. In my case, I came from a pretty low income family, so the dorms for me were free. That was pretty sweet, right? Except of course, for the rest of school, I was getting robbed left, right, and sideways, and we'll talk about that. We got another bike coming up. Yeah, baby. So anyways, I started to think, oh, you know, maybe I'm not so bad at driving my finances. I can make this money stretch for a good bit of months. I'm not really spending on much. All right, sweet, not bad. Then my third year of college, me and my buddy decided to move off campus. And I was so hyped because I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna have our own pad. It's gonna be sweet. We can drink beers all the time. That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be tight. It was going to be tight. And to be honest, it really was tight. So for the first little while after working over the summer, had those couple $1,000s saved up, I was like, all right, sweet. I can just coast. I can like pay off whatever my dues are for rent. It's not like I really spend much, whatever. And then after a couple months, I was like, whoa. I took a look at my bank account and my money was depleting way faster. I'm like, yo, what the heck is this? And I'm going through. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was grocery shopping. And then I'd be like, whoa, how the heck did I spend that much? I didn't even get that much food. Well, where else is it going? And I'd be like, oh yeah, I went to that one restaurant one time with my buddies. Let me see how much I spent there. And again, I'd be like, whoa, what? That's not adding up. I barely got anything. I got like a beer and a burger. So now I'm like, oh crap. Okay, what is going on here? Those were a lot pricier than I thought. Whatever, no big deal. I'm just gonna be a lot more frugal. No frivolous spending. I'm not gonna throw my money around. I'm just gonna stay inside and eat cheap, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'm taking on other bills. Now electric's coming out, gas is coming out, and my car breaks down. I gotta go pay for that. And it's just all adding up, and it's making my head spin. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And mind you, at this point, because I'm getting assistance, I don't even have to pay like the full rent. They're helping me cover some of these expenses, right? Like the $2,000 alone is not going to be enough to cover these things. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to get a part-time job on the side. That's going to cover this stuff. And so that's what I did. I did that. I got a part-time job. I was able to make a few $100 a week. Nothing major, maybe like 200, 300, something like that. All of a sudden, my head's back above water. I have a little money to throw around. And I'm like, okay, we're back. Now, around this time, this is where things get interesting, right? Around this time, I started a little business. Very small business, very small business. More than anything, it's like a side hustle, but I'm taking it really, really seriously. And as I've got this little business, all of a sudden, things kind of start picking up with it. I'm not making a ton of money. I don't really know what I'm doing. To be honest, I didn't even know how to really monetize it, but it starts really getting to my head. And also around this time, I'm not doing that great in school. I don't know if I've already said this in another video yet, but I have pretty bad ADD. I love learning new things, even in school, but like homeworks and stuff like that were really, really hard for me, and I'm not exactly the best test taker. So while I'm absolutely tanking in school and my business is picking up a little bit, it feels like, I'm like, you know what? I think I got to take some time off, and I think I really got to focus on this business. I talked to my mom. She's like, okay, like, are you sure? Because I'm really like putting a lot into this school. And I kept it really honest with her. I'm like, no, but I'm doing so bad in school that I don't really think it's worth it for me to stay. She's like, right, okay, I get that. Well, worst case scenario, you can always go back. So next thing I know, I am out of school. And when I'm out of school and I'm about to start running this business on my own with no knowledge of how to really run my money, I think you can guess how this winds up. And if you can, I'm just going to spell it out. It did not wind up good. To cut this story short, I basically just wound up spending that whole time just working at Dunkin' Donuts. I was barely getting by. All of the momentum I had going with my little business just completely tanked because I had no time to work on my business because I was fighting to keep my head above water. I was really bad at managing my money. It's not even like I was spending. So after 1 year, I was like, you know what? This is too much. I got to go back to school. And I got back to school. Now, I told you guys, I'm no saint. I usually have to learn by making mistakes. So I went back to school and I started working my majors to be more business oriented. I saw how close I came and how I fumbled it. I really wanted to dial that in. You know, I've never been the type to really just like give up on anything. Knowing how close I came that last try without being able to turn it made me that much more hungry to actually do it right this time. So I showed back up to school. I started taking some business courses and I learned some really great stuff. And right now, I'm going to teach you some of those basics and you can apply them right to your own finances because it works just the same. Also, to finish my story, I ended up not finishing out school because I got back into that same business and this time I actually had the fundamentals. So I decided to go ahead and build on that, and now it's going pretty well. I still work a day job too though. I just want to point that out. Anyways, we'll get all into that stuff, but now it's time to talk business. Okay, so the very basics of business is there's three things you need to consider. There is revenue, which is money coming in. What do we call that in our personal finances? Income. Business, revenue. Personal finance, income. Our paychecks. So something businesses try and do is they try and create different streams of revenue. Same thing in personal finance, different income streams. I just told you right now, I have a small business that's bringing me a little money. On top of that, I'm also working a day job. That's another stream of money. And even within my business, there's different ways I make money within that business. So you'll see one day when we get into the numbers of my business, how there's two different incomes. One is kind of small, but it's very steady, and one of them's kind of comes in big chunks randomly. Anyway, so revenue is awesome, but it's only one piece of the pie. The next thing we got to look at is our overhead, our expenses. All of the money going out, right? We got to pay for stuff. Businesses got to pay for stuff. I need to eat food to survive, so I have to spend money to get that food. If I'm running a business and I mow lawns, I have to buy lawnmowers. I have to buy a truck to bring the lawnmower somewhere. I have to buy gas for the lawnmower for the truck. It's like me as a person, I got to buy gas to go to work. I got to buy housing so I have a roof over my head so I don't get eaten by wolves. It's the same thing. So even though revenue is awesome and we're like, yeah, money's coming in, doesn't mean anything if our expenses are too high. Because then we have none of our third thing, which is, oh yeah, you guessed it, baby, profit. Revenue doesn't mean crap unless you're turning a heavy profit. Profit is all of that money that you get to keep after the expenses are taken out of the revenue. That's the thing that really matters. That's what you want. You don't want a business where you're losing money. That's a really crappy business, right? Do you want to work at a company where your boss comes to you and he's like, hey man, what's up? Just want to let you know you're not going to get paid this week because I don't have any money because my business is so bad. Probably not. You're not going to feel very safe at that job. That happens, right? Businesses go under, people lose their jobs. It's not pretty. Whoa, that was a big bump. And I guess in personal finance, that's called going bankrupt. If you can't sustain something, you might lose your house. That's a sad, sad situation. We want to avoid that. So those are kind of like the three basic things, right? And the goal with businesses is always to increase revenue, drop expenses, and maximize profit. So people working in those businesses have to find creative ways to do that. Sometimes it's very ugly and slimy. Sometimes they'll take out someone who's been working there for years because a new guy might take a pay cut and do the same job. It's a cold world in business sometimes. Me personally, I don't really like that. I do things a little different. Everybody does things their own way, and that's where the real beautiful part of personal finance is. You get to be the boss. If you want to do things your way, you do things your way. So at the very fundamentals, that's all it is. Maximize revenue, decrease expenses, maximize profits. That's the name of the game. That is absolute square one. Now as you go, you can start to do more. You can start to scale your business, right? That means you're going to expand your business. Your business evaluation is like your personal net worth. I'm just kind of trying to draw the parallel so we can start thinking like that. Because eventually when you want to start building, you can kind of look at all the numbers and you can say something like, yeah, my expenses are higher now, but my main expense is my mortgage, and when I'm paying my mortgage, I'm gaining equity in a house, meaning that you're owning a bigger share of that house, which is worth money. You can start considering all those factors. For example, if you pay $1,500 a month for rent, but then you buy a house and your mortgage payment is $2,000, you're leaving less room for profit, but your money is coming back to you in ownership of a house. So eventually you'll be able to sell that house and make that money back. However, if you're paying rent, you can't sell anything after. So to recap, these are just the absolute basics, but it's how you should start thinking about your own money. Take a look at what you make every month and think, okay, that's my monthly revenue. Take a look at what you spend every month and say, okay, that's my overhead. Then take a look at what you have left over and say, how do I maximize this? And maybe you'll end up thinking, okay, I gotta dial back on my overhead. Maybe I'm gonna move into a smaller place. Or maybe you're thinking, that's it, I'm not going out to the bars anymore, I spend too much. Do whatever you gotta do, minimize those expenses, maximize that profit. Okay guys, and you know me, this is just about the end of the video, but I want to give you one little bonus tip, one last little morsel of knowledge. Here's something else to consider. This one is called opportunity cost. And what this means is, what are you going to lose by doing this instead of this? So for example, if I'm working at a gas station full-time 40 hours a week and I'm making $15 an hour, what am I losing by not working at the other gas station across the street that pays $20 an hour? Well, let's think about it. You're making $20 at the other spot, so you subtract the $15 that you're making currently, so there's $5 extra at the other spot. Now multiply that by 40. You are losing $200 a week by not working at that other gas station. That's a lot of money. And that right there is the opportunity cost. You're missing out on $800 a month, almost $1,000 a month. So you have to think to yourself, is that worth it? Me, I don't really have a dog in the fight. Maybe the other boss is a jerk. You gotta think to yourself, is that boss such a jerk that I'm okay with passing up on 10 grand every year? I don't know, but that's the opportunity cost. Okay guys, so if you feel like you learned anything from this video and you want to show support, just drop a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and as we keep going, I'm going to keep teaching you guys. We're going to build off the fundamentals we're learning now. I really want to try and cover everything, you know, credit, loans, all kinds of stuff, leasing cars, buying cars, whatever you're going to be doing with your money, I'm going to try and make a video about it, so make sure to subscribe. Alright guys, that's all for now. You be easy, peace out, thanks for watching.